So here we go. This is the finale. It's not often you'll hear an Austin Metro described as a finale to anything, but we've done in this series of the Great British Car Share, our Rally Legend special. I've introduced you to 3 cars which we all know are iconic British classic cars.
Yeah.
But I like the rally stories, and that's what I wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if you bought into that and you could see that they had their hearts in rally. This is an MG Metro, which is where the MG Metro 604 came from, as you know.
Yeah.
And that is the most formidable rally car that ever came from these shores. 450 brake horsepower from a naturally aspirated Cosworth-derived V6 engine. It didn't take the world by storm because Group B was cancelled before it could gather momentum, but it did take a few people by surprise. I'm not going to give you an MG Metro.
I was going to say, I'm confused because we're standing inside the museum here and it's still parked in here. Does this mean that we've got the real thing outside?
No, I did promise you a rally car. I haven't delivered a 6L4, I'm afraid. I wish I had. I did actually try. This MG Metro is in the collection here at the Great British Car Journey. But in the Drive Dad's car fleet is an Austin Metro. Now, it's an Austin Metro City. It's perhaps the most basic car that ever came out. I mean, even a Robin Reliant is more luxurious than that Metro and that spec of Metro.
Basic.
I know you do, but I'm going to give you the stark contrast between the most basic 43 brake horsepower Metro that ever came out of Britain to what it became.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that story. Okay. So, no illusions of grandeur. We're just posing with the MG Metro. I'm going to give you an Austin Metro for our final rally legend.
Let's go.
So in very many ways, the Metro, I feel, should really have mirrored the Mini in that you didn't need a sporty one for it to be fun to drive. But the basic Metros, I'm going to say it, I don't think they're very fun to drive. I've driven one before. I've also had the pleasure of driving an MG Metro and they are brilliant.
Okay.
And the Metro 6R4 is a Group B monster that I've had the pleasure to drive as well, and that is just out of this world. I don't think I'll ever drive a more exciting car. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Around a rally stage, and I've also been a co-driver in one as well.
You lucky thing.
And they're just
And now
immense.
you're going all the way back to basics.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the Mini 1275 engine in it, and the MG Metro basically had the Mini Cooper engine in.
Yeah.
And that difference made a world of difference in the Metro because it was a heavier car, so you needed that extra bit of power.
Yeah.
And the suspension changes they made for the MG made it really quite a fun little car to drive. We bought one as a donor car for a Midas kit car, and we ended up selling the Midas kit car and keeping the MG Metro because the Metro was just so cool. Of all the cars we've driven, it's the least like a rally car.
You don't like it, do you? I can tell. You really don't like it.
I've never understood how you can go from a very basic Metro to an MG Metro, which, let's face it, there's not a huge amount of difference in between, but somehow they just transform it and it becomes a fun car, whereas the basic one feels basic. The steering feels awful.
I was going to say, you don't look like you're having an easy drive here.
No, and that's the thing, it should have been easy to drive.
It looked awkward.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you're a great big lollop in a 6-footer that makes it look like that.
For many rally fans, the Metro is the ultimate rally car, or at least it is in Group B trim. The MG Metro 6R4 was British Leyland's answer to the Delta S4s, the 205 T16s and the Audi Quattros. The Metro was the only naturally aspirated Group B car with its 3-litre V6, which put it at a disadvantage to the other rally monsters of the era. That didn't stop Tony Pond, there's that moustache again, taking the car to 3rd on the Lombard RAC Rally on the car's World Championship debut, however. With the Group B ban in 1986, the Metro would never get the chance to fully show its potential on the world stage.
The Metro didn't need wide arches to show its full potential though. In 1983, the Metro was the best-selling Super Mini. Only the Ford Escort and Sierra achieved higher numbers. The Metro was a true car of the people, picking up where the Mini had left off. Even the name was picked by British Leyland employees.
But we're here to talk about classic cars that became rally heroes.
Yeah.
So, in that vein, Group B was gaining momentum, and John Davenport, who I already mentioned again, was the man behind the 6R4 project. He got Patrick Head from Williams Racing Car Engineering, the Formula One team, involved, and they built this utter monster.
It is a monster.
But in true British stiff upper lip fashion, they decided they weren't going to go for a huge turbo bolted onto a small capacity engine. They were going to go with a massive naturally aspirated V6. So they went with this 3-litre V6 that had some shared engineering with the Cosworth DFV, which you'll find in most Formula One cars of the era. You know, incredible engineering. And it put out 450 brake horsepower compared to the 43. You know, we thought the Chevette was bad, 53 horsepower to 250. 43 to 450 brake horsepower. All the big names in British rallying since the 80s have got a 6R4 on their CV. So it doesn't take something to win lots of championships to be a British rally legend. It takes something to have captured the hearts and minds of British rally fans.
That's the thing, isn't it?
And that makes it a legend.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I love the 6R4.
And I get that, but you don't love where it came from, do you? I can see.
I do, because I love the MG Metro.
Yes.
But I didn't want to give you an MG Metro today because I wanted to, in all 4 of the cars that we've driven, give you the stark contrast between the cars that started the story and where it went.
Where it came from, where it got to.
So the real test is you, Crabbers, driving this, because you do like your basic classic cars.
Yeah, I do.
You said you were excited about how basic this was earlier.
Yeah, at least the seats moving this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like base.
Do you like this blanking plate here?
It's a bit crackers, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. If we put a
like
3D Metro wording on it, they'll never know that.
Well, look, we could have the gears on there because we ain't got them on the top of there, have we?
I think they were probably there once.
It's been picked off. I love the dash.
Yeah.
I love her dress.
Yeah.
I love the fabric.
I'd much rather have the Corbeau seats that were in the, I think they were Corbeau seats.
But let's drive it, because that's what it's all about. It's driving it. How does it make you feel when you drive it? Oh, actually, to be honest, I think it was just maybe you making it look like it was a bit awkward, because it drives great.
Yeah. It'd be better if it was a 6R4 though, right? With its dogleg gearbox and its 300 brake horsepower David Wood V6 singing behind your head.
Do you know, I'm not going to agree with you on that one.
No?
I think it handles nicely. I think the steering wheel's a little bit too big.
It define handles nicely.
I mean, look, it's nice. It takes those corners nicely.
It does. We get to know each other very well on left-handers.
Gearbox is smooth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Compare it to a Mini. It should compare quite capably to a Mini. Even the most basic of Minis is
I had the most basic of Minis.
Fun.
It was my first car, was the most basic of Minis. But I think this
Handles well.
I do think it does. I really do. It's a little bit noisy.
Yeah, there's that parcel shelf rattle.
There's that parcel shelf rattle.
If you see the period footage of Princess Diana and Prince Charles when they were courting, before Princess Diana had her frontal lobotomy and got the Series 1 RS Turbo, this was the royal car. This was the car she used to drive around in. So it was a kind of true British icon.
if it's good enough for a princess.
Alan Partridge wouldn't have one though, would he?
Would he not?
I'm not driving a mini Metro, Lynn.
Do you know what? I don't think I can listen to that parcel shelf anymore.
No. But as a consolation, although you can't really hear us here in the Austin
prize.
Metro, you wouldn't be able to hear us in the Metro 6R4 either, albeit the soundtrack would be
I don't know
far
where
sweeter.
reverse is because someone's stolen the...
But there's something poetic, isn't there, about the stark difference between this 43 brake horsepower city car and the 450 brake horsepower monster that, you know, just once in its life took a podium on the RAC rally, and it was the first time it came out of the box with Tony Pond at the wheel. There's just something so poetic about that,
Yeah.
I think.
Look at the way you just go off into like a little dreamland when you talk about it.
Yeah.
It's so lovely.
Doesn't even have a radio. Look, there's a blanking
Who
plate
needs
for
a
the
radio when you can listen to the sound of the parcel shelf?
Yeah. One last thing, and I do like this about the Metro. Where the dials are, you've got that 80s kind of electronic line design, haven't you?
Yeah. It's great.
You can imagine the electronic noises and music to it.
It reminds me of every boy's bedroom of the late 80s and 90s. It's like...
Which ironically
That-
had posters of Metro 6L4s in it.
Yeah, probably did. But you know, the wallpaper, very similar to the... It just did. Everybody had curtains, the same.
Yeah.
Love it.
I gave it to you. I added it into this series because it is a true rally legend.
Yeah.
For all the reasons we've discussed. You don't need it to win big prizes. You don't need a 300
Yeah.
brake horsepower V6 engine. And that's a good job because this doesn't really have either.
It doesn't have any of those things whatsoever.
Last cool fact about the 6R4.
But it's a classic. I like it.
Yeah. I'll take the MG version so you can keep this one.
Yeah.
Tony Pond came back to a Metro after the 6R4 years and he drove a Rover Metro as a special, well, it wasn't a one-off, he did 2 seasons in an actual bog standard Rover Metro, the GTI.
Did it?
Yeah. So this big WRC legend Group B Metro driver drove a Metro GTI when the Rover restyled the Metro, and
How do you think he felt about that?
there's some really good footage and he handles it with aplomb, as you'd expect of a man with that class.
Yeah.
But I imagine it felt like somewhat of a come down.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. But here we are, the last of our rally legends, and it had to be the Metro. If you're talking about British rally legends, and there'll be a lot of people that will say, you talked about British rally cars, you did a series on British rally cars, and you didn't stick a Mark 1 Escort in there. We know the Mark 1 Escort rules the roost when it comes to British rallying.
Everybody knows that. We're here, well, you're here today to educate the masses. We'd be telling them nothing that they didn't already know if we were driving an Escort, you know.
Yeah.
But to bring all this and take it back, strip it back to basics and tell the story, which I think you've done impeccably, and your knowledge of rallying history is phenomenal. I applaud you, Mr. Woodford. Well done.
I did promise you a rally car
You did.
at the beginning of this series.
And it was a little fib, Mr. Woodford.
Well.
It was a little fib. And I'm going to let you off because I've had such a lovely time going back to basics with his car and learning from you. And I think people also will enjoy coming here. And, you know, if you were a teacher back in the day and you had one of these, come back to the Great British Car Journey and the Drive Dad's Car Fleet and hop in one and relive those memories of all those history books in the back that you needed to go home and mark.
I'm going to redeem myself. While we've been driving these rally legends, the cars that created the rally cars, I've been working on something a little bit special. So you're going to have to tune in for the last film in the series, because you're not going to want to miss this. I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Tell me.
You're going to be giddy. To be continued.
Tell me what it is.
It's mega. You have to wait. So will you.
Oh, it's so annoying. Did you nearly forget to set the handbrake on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You wanted me to wait, that's why I'm waiting. I wasn't having a moment.
Okay.